What is up, guys? McDouble's back again with a brand new video, and today we're going to be checking out the Disciples of the Tides legendary random enchant. Listen, I was going to be doing a Beast and Blade video, but it turns out it's been disabled as of my recording of this, so it must be overpowered or bugged in some way. And I thought to myself, I might as well just do something else on Apostle Bob. I mean, it's a pretty good healing character, and in this video, you're going to see that we achieve greatness in a way that we have not done yet on League 3, going above and beyond in Mythic Plus and in raiding as well. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's jump right in. Alright guys, I'm on Apostle Bob, level 60 right now, and check it out. 67, let's just say, item level. We've been making some progress, and I've got some cool stuff to show you guys. We go into a +9 with, you know, no expectations, and you'll see how that goes. And we also check out some heroic raids as well, which is giving me, like, item level 67 to maybe 74, depending on the drop. So yeah, that is pretty sick. We got some pretty good loot as well. As I told you guys in the intro, I was going to be doing Beast and Blade. I was fully prepped to try to make Beast and Blade work, but it has been disabled, and I don't know if it's just going to be a 1-hour thing or a 2-day thing, so there's something broken about it. So hey, we'll do more DPS builds as we come to it. I've tried most of the healing builds at this point, and, you know, some of you guys have expressed yearning for a little bit more in-depth analysis on some of the builds. I think it's important to keep in mind that, you know, most of you aren't trying every single build in Ascension, right? There is a little bit of gravitas, a little bit of difficulty that comes and is warranted and required in trying all of this stuff and being the best at it all, which I certainly cannot do. So, you know, Cauterizing Flames, I feel like that was a little bit of a letdown. I think Tree of Wrath maybe was also a little bit of a letdown, but of course Dark Surgeon, probably one of the best things they've ever come up with. So, you know, there's give and take. Will Disciple of the Tides be good? I think so, and this is coming from quite a bit of experience so far, something that I think a lot of you guys who have been yearning for more difficult content to be shown will definitely appreciate. First of all, check out my weapon, alright? This is almost proof enough in many ways. We have a blood collar in one hand, which is quite nice. It's 69 item level. Let's see, where's my super cool piece? Oh, my Leggings of Transcendence Heroic with 74 item level. This made me happy, and it also made me sad because I picked up a Chromatic Leggards, which I also believe, heroic version by the way, turns into something like this as well. And I don't think there's another piece of gear that I'd rather have. Could be wrong, and that's why I'm saving it, but it was kind of like, oh, I got something. Oh no, it's the same thing kinda. So, you know, it's one of those things. I do want to show you guys the build I'm working with. I will post my build. It's actually already in my Discord before this video even went live. That's how confident I am. I really like this build. One thing you might be noticing with this little add-on right here is that I got Grid, and Grid is also in my Discord now. Grid is what you should probably be using if you're healing, at least from my experience so far. What you're gonna see in the future clips, and I'll just put it on the screen as well here to give you a taste of it, is Grid puts everybody in your raid anywhere you want on the screen. I choose right above my little nameplate right here, and then you just mouse over macro them just as you would on the left hand side with a party that you're in. And because it's all in one little spot, it makes it very difficult to fail. I've also inverted some stuff, changed some colors, made it nice for me. You can do whatever you want with it, but I definitely believe, you can see I'm hovering over it, I definitely believe that this is the way to go. So if you plan to play healer, pick up Grid. It's going to make your life easier. If you plan to raid, if you just plan to do Mythic Plus, you don't need an add-on like this, because as far as I'm concerned, the regular UI or the X-Pearl UI, if you're into that Z-Pearl, whatever, is good enough. Okay, so what is the build, my friends? Well, it is Disciple of the Tides, and it's a build that just came out, and I can only imagine it just came out, how do you spell it? Just because of the fact that some of the healing builds ended up kind of not being as good as we wanted them to be. And I think that's fine. 20 brand new random enchants. Now it seems to be 22-ish, give or take some. And we end up with this one, which is a combination of Restoration Shaman and Discipline Priest. The whole idea is popping bubbles, creating bubbles, and using the mystical elements of nature and water itself to heal people and shield them from harm. I'm not trying to over-grandize it there. I think it's actually pretty fun, but it is a more traditional healing build, so you have to like that stuff. And what it's allowing me to do is get back in my badass Tree of Life form transmog. So this is what the enchant says. Disciple of the Tide, Shaman critical heals reduce the active cooldown of Penance by 1 second and grant you a stack of Disciple of the Tides. Disciple of the Tides increases the damage of your next Penance by 20% of your healing power, and it's healing by 10% of your healing power, stacking 5 times. So this kind of plays itself. I just want to say that right off the bat. You need to start off by using Penance, because Penance, as we'll end up reading, will give me stacks of something called Tidal Swell. Each stack allows me to expend 1 to use my brand new spell, Tidal Shield, which replaces Lesser Healing Wave and counts as a Shaman spell in my rotation. So you can see it right here. I can explain it like this. What it's going to do is put a shield on me and give me a pretty sizable heal and hot. It's completely loaded, and the more I cast it, the bigger the shield gets, up to, let's see, it says up to 35% of the target's maximum health. That on a tank, especially an only stamina type of bear tank, can be pretty ridiculous. Because as I cast Tidal Shield, you'll notice what I'm actually going to be doing is giving myself a stacking buff that's increasing the damage of my Penance. So we can see the Disciple of the Tides buff right here. So literally, the complete rotation of the build centers entirely around Tidal Shield and Penance, at least for single target. At that precise moment, we also have to keep in mind to keep up the Riptide, as you just saw. And then we learned this in the Tree of Wrath video, but there is synergy with Riptide and Lesser Healing Wave that I do just want to toss in the mix real quick. Don't forget, Riptide makes your next 2 Lesser Healing Waves have a 25% extra chance to crit, I believe. So you can see there's a crit right there. And the crits are pivotal because all of these buffs, or a lot of them, are relying on me critting. And then when it comes to multi-target, we've got the Wild Growth, absolutely pivotal, and the Chain Heal, which is basically devoting us to more of a nature aspect of a healer, right? So what did I do to try to make this really good? Well, the first thing I did was take all of your comments to heart, at least the ones that were constructive criticism, and I went through the healer builds. Of course, we learned more in the last video as well, and I decided to go all in on Tranquility, exactly as you guys told me in the Tree of Wrath video. Now, my Tranquility, if you can believe it, has a 36-second cooldown and a 14-second duration. Guys, it shouldn't be this way. I didn't take a hit in power level, by the way. I did take a hit in mana cost, but you'll learn, and you probably can already figure out by now, that it doesn't matter. I've also got 1k bonus healing. 1,032 bonus healing right now. Now, outside of my main spells, I've learned a lot from previous healing videos. I've remained with the Capacitor Totem. I've got my really pivotal Tremor Totem and my Cleansing Totem. I've got my Dispel Magic, which I prefer over Cleanse, and my Dispel Curse because it's all I could fit, right? I've got my Void Shift, but I almost never had to use it. Poly, in case we ever need CC, because I had the extra slots, and Divine Protection was the exact same concept. I had nothing else I could fit in the Legendary slot. Might as well reduce all damage taken by 50%. I've got my Brilliance Aura and my Lay on Hands if everything goes bad. I've got all the pivotal buffs I feel like I need with the Arcane Intellect, Blessing of Wisdom, Divine Spirit, Mage Armor, and we know why based on the last video, and the Earth Living Weapon, my friends, and that is actually putting me up now to 1072 bonus healing, which is even better. So it begins a Mythic 9, my friends, and let me just say this right off the bat, just so everybody understands. I'm a DPS player and a little bit of a tank player at heart. I never dabbled in PvE healing. I did a little bit in PvP back in the day, but that's pretty much irrelevant at this point. The fact of the matter is, one of the main reasons I didn't heal in PvE is because I thought it would be too boring most of the time, and so there's a lack of experience there. So when I went into this +9, you have to understand, I went into this, first of all, with no microphone. I didn't want to talk the entire time I was doing it, because I did not want to make a mistake. I wanted to take it serious, and so one thing you might be noticing is that the major difference between like a +1 and just a little +9, because you can go a hell of a lot higher, is your RPM. So basically, I have to go fast. I am going really fast. I mean, this is not Resident Sleeper at all. Constantly, people are being chunked, and one mistake can literally lead to somebody dying. But I will just say, we don't have that many issues in that regard. So, yeah, this one went pretty damn well. Now, I did have this dude in the beginning. He told me to heal his pet. The fact of the matter is, when I got into this +9, my UI was still like the Cauterizing Flames and Tree of Wrath video, because after the Cauterizing Flames video, guys, I jumped straight onto this build. I didn't even play the Fire build anymore. I immediately switched, as you guys know from the end of the last video, and I was in it. So this is like right after that video, I jump into this +9. By the way, I lied to get in here. I told everybody I had 69 item level. That's my lie. Nobody knew my name at the time either, by the way. This is before the video went live, but after the end of that, if that makes sense, right? I think think you guys know what I mean. I lie about my item level, and I get in here, and I lied about it because I knew I could heal it. You know what I mean? It's like when you lie on a job application because you have all the skills, but they want 15 years of experience, even though you're only 24. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make it in life, and this is one of those situations. I was about 4 item levels off, but as you can see, my healing is definitely on par. But I had this dude, and he was really pissed because his pet was not getting healed. I was under the impression that chain heal and wild growth, and you can see I click on it here, the wild growth does apply to the pet. I am healing the pet, but I don't have the UI to where I've got the little pet, you know, to my left the same way that I have the players, and so sometimes his pet was dying. Now, you could say, McDoubles, why do you care? He should probably just be taking Men's pet. He should have some understanding of how to maintain his pet, and also keeping in mind, pet mechanics on Ascension have always been a little bit wonky, and that's one of the reasons that, for example, the Beast and Blade video was kind of difficult for me, but luckily that one is a little wonky right now, as you guys know, so we don't have to touch it right now. But yeah, his pet died quite a lot. He took it really to heart, though, and I want to say that because what ends up happening is this dude ends up bailing really early on, and we continue this Mythic. First of all, if you bail in Mythic Plus and it's not your key, that's messed up, because you just screwed the guy who was trying to take the risk of making the entire party, inviting all, hopefully the right people, and then, you know, at least thinking that they're going to devote an hour of their time to making this work if you're not in a guild and you don't have like these speed run tendencies. And so you do all of that, and then somebody leaves, and it's kind of wonky. I don't like that right off the bat, because I do think that you know, my wild growth was hitting the pet, my chain heal was hitting the pet, and during the dungeon, because he was so mad about it, I was trying to target his pet and heal it as well, but without the UI, and I don't know if he's men petting it all because I wasn't seeing the buff, and I don't know if he's pulling his pet back or controlling it himself, it would still die sometimes. Now that's just a sad feeling, and hopefully the UI thing fixes itself and we can prevent that from happening in the future with other people. But I was in the zone on this one. I didn't want to let somebody with negative vibes kind of like throw me off my game. Does that make sense? So I didn't let it get to me, but what that unfortunately led to was the guy thinking that I just was out to get him, and that's why he ended up leaving. So do keep that in mind. We will get to this point, but I'm telling you the story of what happened. So Zeus dies on Hydro Spawn. Zeus is the guy with the pet. Right off the bat, every single one of you were thinking there's no way that happened organically. And you're about to lie to us, McDoubles, and tell us that he died just organically. It just happened to be him, because certainly that's what he was thinking. He was thinking, I let him die. This guy is an asshole. He's targeting me right now. Okay, I know exactly what's going on. I'm smart enough to be aware of what's going on, and smart enough to know that he thinks I hate him, but I can't let it get to me. I've got to focus, because I've never ever tried Mythic Plus on a healer before in any serious fashion, and I wasn't going to let anything get to me, as I told you guys. So, okay, it did look bad, especially when after the fact, after he dies, I heal everybody perfectly fine, and literally I have no fear at all. I'm doing what I've got to do. I'm applying the wild growths. I'm keeping the Riptide up on the tank to whatever varying degree that I feel I have the ability to do. And I'm keeping up the title shields, but of course, at this point, especially on the bosses, I just don't have to care as much. They aren't taking that much damage. Zeus just got clapped. It's just one of those sad, unlucky moments, but he's tilted. He may have came in here tilted. That's why he's so mad about the pet right off the bat. So his pet's dying, he's dying, and clearly this healer hates him. And that's the whole vibe that's going on with that guy. But luckily, Hydro Spawn, as I said, all these boss fights, super duper easy. And we're able to kill him fairly easily with me just keeping up all my hots on the tank, keeping my back to this pillar, by the way, so that when he does his little knock-up effect, we don't go flying in random directions, so that's pretty good as well. A lot of people like to pull him behind this pillar as well. You may have seen that in previous videos, and that kind of, you know, helps so you don't knock yourself into any packs. You can see I got pushed a little bit, but the pillar saved me. And yeah, okay, when all of the Hydrolings started spawning, I did get scared. I thought maybe this is the burst phase, maybe this is where it gets tough, and it was a little bit more difficult in the majority of the fight, but for the most part, we were able to get through this fairly easily. And so there you go. We were able to kill Hydro Spawn pretty easily, and this is before Zeus leaves, right? All right, so there you go. We did complete it with only 4 people, and believe it or not, it wasn't even that bad. You would think we wouldn't even be able to complete it within the time limit, but we did. It wasn't a crazy thing, but okay, we got a bunch of different bits of loot. Mythic Wild Heart boots. That's not too terrible. I do want to open up this Mythic 9 chest, though. Will we get something good? Oh, yes! Dude, that's a Mythic 9 weapon with 19 spirit. I mean, listen, I think I want to go 1H offhand at the end of it all, you know what I mean? Because the 1H in the offhand gives 6% flat healing. This gives 10% haste to use the staff. I think the haste could be good, but maybe not for the healer. Could be wrong. Maybe let me know in the comment section below what you guys think, but this is huge, guys. So we did do a heroic MC, but the heroic Zul'Gurub, in my opinion, was a hell of a lot more interesting. I started off in this one with a bunch of experience under my belt from doing the heroic MC first, and I was finally pulling at least top 2 on the healing charts, as you guys can see, and that was a pretty big and pivotal moment for me because this was really the first raid that I had grid. In the MC I didn't, and that's why it's really not worth showing, because I was having to guess. It's so newbie, it's not even funny. But with grid, it is telling me when people are low. It's telling me when pivotal buffs are on them, and I can just mouse over and just immediately get rid of them, and that has been literally game changing for my healer build so far. Yeah, it is just wild growth, and yeah, it is just maintaining the Riptide on various targets into the chain heal, and I think that's pretty much, you know, a very important thing. But you have to think, you know, we were able to keep those numbers up, probably as a result of the Trank. There is a guy beating me, playing, I think, a very similar build, if I remember correctly. This is heroic. You have to keep that in mind. The only other difficulty, I believe, is Ascended. I don't think there are Mythic raids. I think it's just Mythic Dungeons Ascended raids. Ascended is the hardest content, and people can still pug it. And I find that hilarious, because once upon a time, and I remember this so starkly, if you tried to pug any raid, people thought it was impossible. I remember this. I remember in Wrath of the Lich King, pugging anything other than like Trial of the Crusader until the very end when everybody was pugging ICC. I mean, maybe even before Wrath, to be completely honest. But raids were not seen as something that you pugged often, unless everybody was coming from a guild who already had a bunch of gear and experience. But you didn't take randos. Nowadays, every raid is a pug, and every raid is full of randos, and we're all capable of doing it. Turns out, humans were all capable of doing these raids and pugs the entire time. It's just the culture of the game, and I find that so fascinating that the culture now, we think we all got better at the game, and that's not true. It's only partly true. Okay, because the fact of the matter is, culture in these video games, if you're studying it the way that I feel like I am, and I've come from many games, the culture of the video game has almost as much impact on the efficacy of the player base than the actual skill set of the player base itself. And that is so crazy for a lot of people to think about, but it really is that simple. That people who are doing all of the raids tend to be in guilds in the past, and so those people are joining guilds to do the raids and are having a lot better results. Maybe they do suck, but because they're in a, you know, structured group with a disc call or whatever they were using in the old days, Ventrilo or something like that, it's easier to make up for your bad mistakes, and then you can suck at the game and still compete. And then we start getting the rumors of nobody can do this content unless they're in a guild. Nobody can do this stuff unless it's structured, and the rest of us who aren't doing these things just believe it because it's mystical in some ways. That's how raiding used to feel, I think, to the majority of the player base. Even if you weren't that guy, you need to keep in mind that most people were. Where raiding, at least if you were doing anything other than the bare minimum, was seen as just mystical in many ways, because very few people did it. It turns out we were all capable, as we should have known, but we just fell for the culture of the game, which said you gotta be in a guild, everything's too hard, and people tried to go back. I know I'm ranting at this point, but this has to be understood, man. People used to say, oh no, the content was harder, and most of the time it wasn't. And in fact, on a lot of these private servers, back before private servers were like a mainstream thing to some degree, they made the content harder, actually, not easier. And people found that out when Classic came out. And wow, what a wake-up call when people realized it was never hard to begin with. That's an interesting thing. I don't know, a bit of a rant right there. I just find it fascinating that nowadays nobody cares. Even in actual WoW, they just pug everything. It's just not that hard. And in fact, WoW is a harder game than it would have been back then, which makes it even more crazy. It's just the culture. So that's something I learned in here as well. I had put a mental block in front of me that said maybe I can't be a healer, especially in raids, because I don't have the grid add-on, because maybe I don't have the experience, maybe I need to be in a structured guild. That was all wrong. I was perfectly capable of doing at least up to this heroic ZG, and based on my performance here, I can only imagine that I'm probably perfectly capable of doing an Ascended raid as well, which is almost weird. I would feel like I need more gear. I'm not saying I would be topping the charts compared to somebody with better gear than me. I'm saying we could probably do it. That is pretty pivotal, and I think that's going to be my goal. I want to do over a Mythic 10, and or I want to do at least a Ascended raid. But yeah, ZG was pretty good for me because we ended up picking up a lot of really good loot. You can see me here on the very last boss, Hakar, which is something you've only ever seen one other time on this channel if you watch me, you know, from the beginning or what have you, if you're not missing as many videos. And so this is something I'm not putting up as often. But yeah, we get through the end of this. It's probably the easiest encounter of my life, keeping up all my AoE heals, and we end up pulling some pretty interesting gear. Oh god, guys, I just got done with a crazy session. Mythic 9, 2 heroic raids. This is all in one day, by the way. This is a lot of time. And I also finally got my UI perfect. You can see I have grid. You saw it in the clips as well. You're seeing it in the clips now. I am really enjoying Disciple of the Tides. I think this is really, really fun. I want to keep going with it, though. See how much gear we can get. I love this progression where we just keep jumping to different builds, but keep the same character. It's really interesting. There's plenty of healing builds we could try, but I have to say, the only thing that's kind of weird about this one is that Tidal Shield doesn't feel as good in raids as it does in mythics, right? In a raid, I feel like I really am just chain healing. I also went ahead and picked up my last trinket, and we won a trinket. So we've got double trinkets now, and we are full PvE power. This is a really big milestone, guys, and the trinkets are really, really good. Talisman of Ephemeral Power, I can use this for a massive amount of extra healing power. You can see if I use it, I'm at 1332. So for some reason, the way this is scaling and combined with all of my talents, it's putting me up to 1332 when I pop that trinket. And then I can use the next one not too long after. But look, once it goes away, I'm all the way down to 982. So that's not just plus 175. There's some scaling there that's really good with that. And then I went ahead and I picked up with some of my Raiders commendations. Still love this system. Still love it. Gearing so fast, guys. These changes are so good. I'm glad I got into raiding in League 3 so far. But the trinket I got is Hazaraz's Charm of Healing. This gives me a 2-piece bonus with another piece of gear I got, the Zandalar Confessor's Mantle. So a bunch of upgrades, guys. And this gives 12 spell power on the 2-piece, which is pretty good as well. I am doing crazy good. 405 intellect, 322 spirits, and being a healer is just really, really easy. I mean, once you get the grid set up for the raids, it's so easy. Mythic 9 did push me a little bit. Not to my limits, but enough to where I thought, okay, the pace is picking up. I really gotta go. Gotta really go. That's what I got from the Mythic 9, but I want to do more. But yeah, that is a pretty decent recap, I think, of what's been going down. I've really been enjoying it, but let's find more stuff to do. All right, guys, Heroes Call Onyxia's Lair. Haven't even done this in League 3 yet. Guys, healing, it's reinvigorated it. Plus, this big sword, it's reinvigorated my love for raiding, which I haven't had since I played Cataclysm, and I was literally a kid, and you guys didn't know me. So it's like, it's been a long time since I've enjoyed raiding in World of Warcraft in any real significant way. So let's do some Onyxia's Lair and see how we do. You know, my job as a healer, and it's so laggy in Stormwind, guys, so I'm so sorry for that. But my job is to literally just dodge random bits of crap on the ground, which I have a perfect vantage point for because I can basically stand wherever I want in a lot of encounters. But it's also just to, you know, make sure everybody's bar goes up. It's just so easy, dude. I'm not trying to downplay it because when I say it's easy, I really am kind of saying it's fun, you know? I'm like, yeah, this is great. You mean I just get free epics that I can transfer to some kind of DPS caster spec at some point? A spirit-based one, which is all the rage right now, by the way. And my job is easier. Don't mind if I do. And people like you for it? Yeah, I'll take it. So I'm in a group for Onyxia. That's all that talk was just to get to this point. I am in a group for Onyxia. And it's a flex group. I don't know what the difficulty is, but we'll figure it out. Okay, I forgot I was in a flex group for Onyxia, and I was editing, so I'm running. They haven't kicked me yet, thank God. Let me in. What do you mean out of range? Is that trolling me? There we go. Hello? When the game doesn't want you to have fun. So what is my purpose, right, in this raid? It's basically to cast Tranquility. Like, that's just the honest truth. And I've accepted my role with grace, and I am excited to perform it. So I always get confused when nobody needs to be healed, but then I look at the other healers and they're always casting something. So that's where I think I get left behind. I think I might be too reactive. And oh my God, are they dead? Is that what this is telling me? No, it's not. Okay, they're out of range. That's what it means. Look at me in first place healing off my first trank. And it just keeps going. And by the way, am I not stealing the charts right now? What? I dropped again. Oh, they all had to run somewhere else. I was so excited too. I thought I was gaming the system. Now I'm in last almost. Luckily, there's somebody below me. Thank God. Playing Tree of Wrath. That makes sense. Oh, we have to run away. Okay, cool. Barely on that one. Almost completely screwed the other healer. I don't like that this guy's stealing my thunder by tranking first. I almost feel like the healer fight is against other healers. Like, none of us give a look at all of us trees. Literally none of us care about. Oh no. See, I was gonna say none of us care about the mechanics. There is not a single healer here that knows what Onyxia does or anything that's happening. Okay, I promise you that much. What's happening is we're competing with each other. Who can get the heal before the other guy so that the chart looks better? Okay, and you can feel really good. Well, it's not happening to be me. He freaking tranked before me again, and I'm so damn stubborn that I literally refuse to not also. I'm not moving. You move, bro. And we both just got hit, but we don't care because it's the numbers that matters. It's, oh my God. This is a version of WoW that I didn't know existed. I always just thought healers sat in the back derping around, but I thought that they were at least paying attention to the same degree that everyone else was. Nope. It turns out you're not. You're barely paying attention at all. We're not working our way back up. We're pretty steady fourth right now. And that's not good. I'm really hoping people take damage. I have Trank up, right? I think I'm supposed... Oh, I'm feared. This is where I think Tremor just being down is important. So again, am I just supposed to be spamming chain heal just in general, even if nobody needs it, just in case someone takes damage and I can take that place on the healing chart? Because that feels almost childish, right? It feels almost like, why do that just for the extra number? But, you know, it's not really about me caring about it for me. It's like, you don't want to... Wait, he's dead? Wait, he's dead? I was going to say it's not even about me. It's about not being judged by others necessarily and then not being allowed in raids. It's not the judgment. But what? I thought there were like 3 more phases of that. Like, the DPS must have been absurd. Look, by the way, I mean, this is low in my opinion for what I've been seeing, but people in those heroics I were doing were pulling like 4K minimum. And that is insane right now for what I'm used to on Alar, or what I was used to on Alar. Okay, so nothing good so far. Shard of the Scale. Shard of the Scale. Chromatic headpiece, okay. I'll need on all of these chromatic headpieces. Hopefully I win one of them. I do give extra stuff to the guy that came in second every time. That's just basically how I've decided to handle it. Onyxia hide backpack. Head of Onyxia, why not? Scale of Onyxia. Ancient Grimoire. Yes, that's for a healer. I gotta go. I don't need Eshkinder's collar. I'm just gonna pass it. Somebody will need it. Do we win anything? This is when I just wait and stare at my inventory. There is actually a lot of good stuff there that I could potentially get. I'm not happy with my score there. It's not that far off from third place, though, in terms of HPS. And then you clearly have 2 dudes on top. Well, this is the guy on the actual top. And if I look at their gear, I bet it's gonna be way better. If it's not, I'll feel bad about myself. Okay, yeah, it is. It's like he has like almost a bare minimum of item level 67 on. Whereas I have a minimum of item level 61. So he might be item level 69 right now. That's my guess. It's not that much higher than mine, so I think he's just better. But there's some pretty good stuff in there, and I know how to improve, I think, as well. In fact, if you add 30k to this, which is the amount of trank difference that we both had with each other, I wouldn't beat him, but I would only be 10k behind. And so you can only imagine if I was just a little bit better at the game like he is, and I tranked first, that crazy things could happen. We didn't win any of the loot, though. And, oh, somebody says they see me. Okay, anyway, let's see what we get from the raid cache, which is the one thing that never makes me feel bad when... Oh, my God! This is the worst option, guys. This is when you just get Mystic Runes, orbs, and garbage, and you don't get actually any loot. So thanks. Okay, I was about to say... This is the one thing that can make me feel good if I get no loot. At least we could turn the daily in, though, and let's see if we get something good from it. All right, let's turn it in. Heroes call Onyxia Lair. Extraordinary spoils of war, some orbs, and some other crap. Let's see. Dude.
You were the chosen one!
That's not funny. Like, the Ascension, that's not funny. Change it. Change it. Don't say anything. Just change it. That's messed up. I also think that was a normal, which kind of sucks, but maybe we can get into something else. Okay, we actually have 2 dailies for Dire Maul North, so we're going to queue up for a mythic, and I'm really hoping that we can pull something from one of the mythic caches and get an upgrade, something, right? Because we still have some things that can be replaced, like this heroic belt I pointed out before, and I'll also be able to test grid and see how that works as well in the mythic setting. There we go. It actually popped pretty quickly. I am literally 100% confident right now. Okay, we are in tribute run, I'm assuming. Let's wild growth, get these buffs up. Brilliance R to get that mana back up after the buffs. Why not? Where's my tank? Hasselhoof! Yes! Oh, yeah. Right, guy. He's drunk! Right, guys? You'll have to bear with me. Oh, my God. Let's do it, man. He's worried. This tank's actually worried. He spent the first minute telling everybody that things might go bad. I've been in those shoes before. I know how it feels. But I can assure you, my friend, with me as your healer, nobody's gonna die this entire run. So it's wild growth and chain heal, but let's keep in mind I'm raid spec'd, if you want to call it that, with the 36-second trank. So I guess I could be pretty liberal with this, and I'm gonna start trying to use it as much as I can. All right, wild growth on everybody. Riptide's up on the tank right now. Theoretically, we should do what the build does, so we can check that out more. So I penanced, and now I can title shield this guy. So look at that. A 29-25 crit, and he's shielded, and I can do it again, and it refreshes it, okay, and gives him a stronger shield. Of course, he's taking his time, trying his new build, but as you can see, even when the DPS gets impatient and pulls for him, it's no issue. I'm starting to feel the outgearing of Mythics with this healer. I told you guys in my last video, healing seems to be something that you can do even when you vastly theoretically undergear the content. So healing is just way different compared to DPS in that regard. They actually tried to do Guard Fengus. All right, there we go. Penance to keep this guy up. Let's top him off with the title shield, and you can see it healed me as well. That's actually a handy dandy talent known as Ancestral Awakening. Oh my God, I gotta open this door before these guys actually kill the boss. All right, the boss reset, thank God, and everybody's being topped off. That's pretty good. Riptide on that guy. So once again, I will point out the Mana Forge tanks, and that's exactly what this guy is, by the way, because he's using, what the heck? Because he's using the Mana Forge barrier, which is the big pink shield you see on him. They're really strong. This guy is so worried when he first gets in here, only to, I'm assuming he's figuring it out in his head right now, realize that he's OP, and it just doesn't matter. And he's doing some cool stuff that I don't know if you guys know about that these tanks are doing. Things with Aspect of the Viper and Seal of Wisdom. A true full-on mana tank. It's fascinating. They really don't take a lot of damage. Some of you guys said maybe I should prioritize talents as a healer that increase mana, and there are some like that, like for Trank, for example, that allow Trank to give you not just health but also mana. I might do that for all the tanks that are like this out there. By the way, we have our special cleansing totem down for all of the pesky poisons coming up from those carrion swarmers, I guess, the scorpions. He's just not taking damage at all. Mythic Jab Cross. It's an interesting one. I think it's for 2H parry tanks. I think it's just the role. It's like, now that I know how to heal, it's the most stress-free thing, and that's what I was talking about. Some of you guys gave me a little bit of crap in the comments for a video like 5 videos ago where I said that DPS was a stressful role, and I explained that it, not in the beginning, okay, but once you become good enough, it gets stressful because you have to perfect your build to such a degree that you are just staring at the DPS charts and you are very anxious about your performance. And that's what I meant. And I also contrasted that with saying that in the beginning, healing and tanking are more stressful. But once you perfect those roles, it just seems to be the case that they become significantly easier. And that's what I've been trying to say with the healer the entire time, but also with tanks, especially with the new tank changes, and especially if you're playing a Mana Forge tank. And this is something we'll do, by the way. We'll get to this tank. All right, everybody's wild growths. Nobody's really taking any damage. You have to keep in mind, if I go for the single targets, it's going to bounce to somebody else. The talent I was talking about before is pretty significant. Whenever I Lesser Healing Wave or Riptide, I instantly heal the lowest percentage health friendly party or raid member for 30% of the amount healed. That is just crazy. I just hope we get something to make up for that Onyxia where we literally won nothing. I like how nobody else ever has a way to dispel magic effects when you can pick your skills. You know? Oh, will this guy die? He's getting out of range. No, you won't. And somebody would say, maybe that wasn't my best choice. But listen, is this guy dying really worth it? I don't think so. Because look what's going to happen, guys. I'm going to trank. There we go. 2,000. And they all run away. It's just the Zevs guy. It's just the Zevs guy. You know, but I'll still take it because they all got pumped to full. This is where I wish I had some way to close a gap, and the gap is me to the boss, right? I don't have any way to speed myself up or anything, guys. I only have ways to pull people to me, so kind of clunky there, but I'll definitely take it. We have the wild growth up into the chain heal. Everybody's maxed out. I'm looking at the tank right now. He has a bunch of debuffs, a bunch of rend effects, but he's not really taking any damage due to that Mana Forged barrier. I can keep the Riptide up and go for the title shield. We can just wild growth since everybody took damage. I kind of want to limit test the Trank. I already have the Trank back. All right, chain heal on this guy now. Just so it starts bouncing around. Everybody's... You can see, it's like... I'm at max mana, guys. I'm at max mana. It's like not even remotely a challenge at this point. But I'm looking for Mythic Plus. There aren't many people looking for a healer that are also looking for a high key. Because I don't want to do any more +1s and +2s. I want to go way beyond and just push myself, right? Push the build even. But the chat is just full of +1s. All right, this guy's almost dead. I didn't even have to limit test the Trank. I'll do it here. But there was no need. It was so easy. Okay, let's see. Band of the Ogre King and Grimy Metal Boots. No, thank you. Let's greed both of those. All right, we've got all of our mythic caches and stuff. Okay, Dungeon Spoils, Spirits. Heart of the Fiend. Oh, that is so interesting because I thought it was an offhand. Based on the icon, I did. It turns out it's actually a neck, and it's certainly not better than the one I've got. We also got Devout Mythic Robes. I'm going to keep that. It's not better than what I have, but I am actually hoarding a Devout set right now just in case. Skull Cracking Mace, don't need that. Shaggy Leggings, not that great. A lot of the tribute loot, even with the stats that have been updated by Ascension, are actually pretty bad. You want like Tarnished Elven Ring, maybe you're coming even in for this, the Ogre Forged Hauberk, but I just don't need it on this guy. Mind Surge Robe. Last mythic dungeon cache from this specific run, and we get a Crimson Felt Hat. Okay, so let's go back, turn these quests in, and see what we get, guys. All right, quest number 1 and quest number 2. That's a bunch of marks that I'll probably never use. Okay, first, Spoils of War. Oh, 2 pieces of gear. Funeral Pyre Vestment. Nope. And another Crimson Felt Hat. Okay, last one. Animated Chain Necklace. Nope. And Tunic of the Crescent. Wow. My gear is good enough to where I'm not even getting upgrades from the mythic caches anymore. That's crazy. Guys, I just did the worst dungeon of my life. It's not even worth showing. We had like the most toxic tank, and it's the guy that made the group. And then like one of the DPS wasn't having it, you know what I mean? And also like they didn't know the routes and it went so bad. It happens sometimes, but hey, oh no, my leggings are my best piece. Crappy piece of gear for a crappy dungeon. All right, another normal cache. Will I get a belt? Because that's basically what I'm looking for. No, a ring I already have. Last one, Tharson's Royal Scepter. Is that better than the Spellbound Tome? Actually, maybe. 1 more spell power, 4 more spirit, -9 intellect. I don't think that's worth it. It's a massive amount of intellect. It feels like -4, -3. I might be willing to take that. So I didn't get anything good. I'm not surprised. Guys, I just realized when I was fully done recording and everything that I missed the cache. I opened it and you can see from the chat, I just got a belt. Now, the worst part is that it's not actually that much better than the one I have. I lose a lot of raw stats, but gain haste and a little bit of SP. I also gained some armor, and I think technically I should use the one I have, but for my own sake, we're just gonna grab the +3 item level and just take it, man. Now I can see this dungeon as a win. Okay, guys, that was a +9 Dire Maul North, and we died at the end. It should have been a +10, but I'm going to tell you guys a newbie story. I didn't even remember what Grievous Wounds was. I've never been a healer in Mythic Plus to any significant degree, and apparently if you don't heal people and they're below 90% health, and you don't get them above that threshold fast enough, they take a lot of damage and insta-die. But we made it. We made it with Unrelenting Spirits and Tyrannical. Just the Grievous wounds, really. But the other one had Necrotic on it as well. The +10 we tried. But I'll take a +9 2 chest on the cusp. Why not? It's better than I've been doing, so it means we're getting better, and that's what matters. Okay, so that means, guys, that we get 2 Mythic 9 chests. So we've been getting a bunch of 1s, and now we can have 2 chances at gear. And we have this normal one we can open first. Let's see. Harmonious Gauntlets. No, thank you. Okay, Mythical +9. Let's see. Water Spout Boots +9. Okay, 69 item level, same as what I've got on. Let's see. It's only giving me 11 spell power. Everything else is a big miss, so that's not good. But we have another chance, and that's the best part, and we get a ring? Yes! Oh, and I know it's better than what I have because I've got the normal version of it. Wow, look at that, boys. A +9 only gives 1 spirit and 3 SP over the normal counterpart. That is really sad, but we're going to use it anyway, and we're going to put Disciple of the Tide on it so we can keep playing. It's at least a +5 item level upgrade. I'll definitely take that. Yeah, I'll take it. Enchants now on the new ring. Does our item level go up? It definitely should, right? And it does, look, up to 67.27. Okay, getting rid of Divine Protection, and got a talent point that I just found somewhere. And what we're going to do now is trade it in for Pain Suppression. I think that might be a lot of help. With that being said, I'm taking my 2 points out of Blessing of the Eternals and trading them in for 2 points in Aspiration. I was thinking about this because it's lowering the cooldown of Pain Suppression now, Leap of Faith, and Penance by 20%. It also increases the duration of suppression, and I can also get a random enchant to double down on some of those effects. So with all of those random enchants put on, I did go ahead and grab the Aspiration ones. It's 35% off the cooldown. This brings Penance down to 7.8 seconds, Pain Suppression to 1.95 minutes, and Leap of Faith to 39. A little bit less useful there, but still. And also, I forgot to put the belt on, so we are actually out 67.47 item level. But okay, guys, that's gonna be the end of this episode. I think we got quite a lot out of this build. I did so many Mythic Plus, so many raids, guys. Many that you didn't even see. And I think we've got a good idea of how to play a healer build right now in League 3. I think I'm ready for some other stuff. Maybe some caster builds, maybe some melee, maybe some tanks. Let me know in the comment section below what you might want to see. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe. McDoubles out.